Welcome to the channel, everybody. Y'all know we gotta do the theme song at the beginning of this video. We hold the key to the world's destiny. I know I should keep my day job. Have you a feeling to shine your light? If you're one of the chosen ones, you know you got the feeling to shine your light. The power shining bright. Years we've been searching, y'all. All the good things we're able to see. Welcome to the channel, everybody. You're with Tanisha Ali, and we're talking about an important topic today. I hope everybody is finding themselves in a peaceful, productive, and prosperous moment. It is actually late. I'm doing this video at 8:30. I have been out in the streets all day today, but I have come back and I have decided it is time to film this video. Yesterday, when I was reflecting, I made a long list of things that I wanted to talk about. And you know, we're doing the Manifesting Love series. I have a few videos still coming out. They're in the queue. But I thought we needed to talk about some of the qualities that you could run into when you are manifesting love, or when you are getting into a space to discern which partner is the one that Spirit, that God, that the Creator has for you. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in the video today. How to know if you have an effeminate man, why you need to know if someone that you're seeing or someone that is a prospect is an effeminate man, and how to actually tell. Now, if you have not purchased my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Barnes & Noble, okay? It is a great little addition to your library, not just because I think so, but because many of you guys are giving it rave reviews. Thank you for all of you that are in the thousands that have bought the book. Much love to y'all, much love to y'all. Now I'm going to take y'all to the beach. Actually, I'm going to take you to the jungle, to the Amazon. Let me close this door. So if you stick around, we're actually going to, I'm going to pull an oracle card for you at the end. I'm going to try to keep this short. Y'all, I have 26 things that I wrote down. Just sitting, thinking about the prior relationships that I've had over the course of time, and singling out some of those things that stood out in my mind that yield or that lend themselves to characteristics that can display an effeminate man, which is very important. So I'm not going to go over all of those in this video. I'm going to at least do maybe 12 or 13, we'll see. Let me get to my list, 12 or 13, and then we'll go from there, because it's gonna be too long. And you guys know I get long-winded. In my last few videos, I've been doing pretty good. I've been keeping them at about, I've been keeping them at a good thing, you know, at least 20, 25 minutes. So, okay, here's the thing I wanna really make sure that I say. And I wrote this down in my notes, okay? First of all, it's important for you to know what type of man or what type of woman you want. All right. We're dealing with energies here, but in this case, it's energies and you can apply it as you will, but we're also talking about genders, because most women who are gender-based, you know, who identify as women and who are biologically women, want a certain kind of man. You have that in your mind, and vice versa. So you can apply this if you're not dealing with gender and you're dealing with energy. It's important to understand that combinations of these qualities exist. I am personally not the woman who wants, I want a man who has a great balance of both, all right? Because I have a balance of both. And I know when to turn certain aspects of myself on and when to not turn certain aspects of myself on. However, my primary energy is a feminine energy. You want your man, if we're talking about a man here, his primary energy to be a masculine energy, but you want him to know how to fall into his feminine energy if you're the type of woman like me, I'm describing myself. I want a man who can compliment me, and I want to be able to compliment him. I also want to be able to receive him in areas where I need to. I believe the home is the woman's domain. There's certain aspects of the home that she dominates. So I don't want a masculine, someone who considers themselves masculine, which may not be true masculinity, to be in the kitchen trying to tell me what I need to do in the kitchen and to be trying to interfere with me decorating the house, because that is definitely a feminine energy, right? However, you don't want a man who is in his distorted masculine, which is that power-driven masculine energy that is a false sense of empowerment that lends itself to toxic masculinity, as you hear people to refer it as. So it's really important, essentially, when we talk about a balanced masculine, we're talking about a healthy masculine. When we're talking about a masculine who has his feminine and masculine energies balanced, we're talking about a masculine energy that is overall healthy, that is a perfect harmony of yin and yang, because the wholeness comes with the identification of both halves that make the whole, or both energies, I should say, that comprise the whole. So that's really important. If I were entirely in my feminine, I would sit in a place of receptivity all day, and I may not necessarily have the drive that's required to push my business to the top and to accomplish some of my financial objectives that relate to my business. So that depends on, also bear in mind, this also depends on how you define the limits of the feminine energy. Because to say, let's give you an example. For someone to say a woman might actually defend her family, and by doing that she's taking on her masculine energy, is not necessarily true, because we have sacred anger, which allows us to lift up cars to save our babies. So that's not necessarily masculine. So try not to get caught up in the labels, but understand that you want the person that can exercise both parts of themselves. For example, you run in the household, you get sick, you end up in the hospital. Your husband is not able to, let's say you're in, God forbid, a coma for 2 months. He's not able to show affection to the children because he's not able to be in a softer energy. And he remains very detached because he happens to have that distorted sense of masculinity, which makes him think that in order to be a real man, he needs to be hard and rough, and he needs to crack the whip. So it's a perfect balance, but it's also the other reason why you need to be able to understand what it is that helps you identify these qualities, is because you need to know not only how to identify what's coming towards you, but you need to be able to discern, is this the person that's going to be the right mix for me? If you are with a man and you're looking for a very masculine man and you end up with an effeminate man, it's going to push you into your masculine energy, which is not what you want, because then when your masculine comes in, you won't be his perfect complement. One of the things that I really believe in, and Islam says this somewhere in one of the surahs, but Christianity says this as well, but they just speak the language in different ways, and that is women and men. God created women and men to be each other's complement. I'm going to say yin and yang. They're the perfect balance of the energies that are necessary. Now, man has been given a degree over woman, okay? But the degree over woman is what is misinterpreted in many of the religious circles. And this is a whole nother debate, so I don't want to digress. I don't want to get too much into that, because that can keep us off focus. That can be controversial. But the degree over woman may mean the degree in strength, but it also means more than that, the degree in responsibility, which means spiritual leadership, which means his task really requires more dendrites. It requires more interneural connectors. It requires that he be able to shapeshift and do a lot more, although in today's society, oftentimes he's not, or he is not able to, because of along the distorted stereotypes. Grammatically, that's all jacked up. It's been a long day, y'all. Because of the way we raise our men, we don't know what to teach them in terms of being a full man, in terms of being a whole man. So you end up with someone that's got a leg amputated, or an arm, or that's a limpy, or that has some other deficit. But this person may still feel as though they're in their healthy masculinity. So these things can be very, very, very important that you be able to identify what's coming towards you, that you know your own particular style. If you know that you are an extremely, extremely feminine woman, then you may feel more comfortable with a masculine man. It just depends. There's no right or wrong. I don't believe in extremes. I don't believe in extreme femininity. I believe in balanced femininity. I don't believe in toxic femininity either. Okay, I believe in a perfect balance, and that's what I strive for in my life, and that's what I'm still working on in my life. So these things are very, very important. So we're not looking for, many of us, sometimes what we may think we're looking for. Even those women who may feel that they're looking for an extremely masculine man, you have to ask, what is their idea of extremely masculine man, and what does that mean? Does that mean that when you need some help in the kitchen because you got 3 or 4 kids running around and that happens to be your role and not his, that he can't wash a dish? Okay. There was my first husband. I don't think that he had been in the kitchen. My children's father, I don't think that he had been in the kitchen before he married me. Actually, in his culture, it was looked down upon for a man to even be within 10-20 feet of the kitchen. That was just not something that you did. But of course, being in the United States with Miss Ali also working and also making major contributions, you need to be able to giveth of yourselfeth in many more ways than you may be used to. So he was able to very kindly participate in a lot of ways, but that's not to say, I can tell you, when his sister came to visit us, he did turn cold. When his sister came to visit us, he didn't want to be anywhere near the kitchen. He had to put that ego thing back on, you know. So that's a whole nother story. Finally going to get into the topic at 11 minutes and 58 seconds. So here we go with some of these things that we're going to talk about and why it's so important. All right. Understand that an effeminate man, an effeminate, E-F-E-M-I-N-A-T, an effeminate man is not going to oftentimes come across feminine and soft. This is why you have to really be mindful. He's not going to come across as soft and feminine. He's not going to flaunt his femininity. Sometimes the most effeminate men come across as super masculine. In fact, that is almost a cover, and it doesn't have to be conscious. It can be something that happens subconsciously, which is why it's also important to understand this, okay? Often they can hide behind a very stern and stoic exterior. But one of the things that you will find that underlies all of his behaviors is that an effeminate man will be very comfortable with role reversals, meaning he will be very comfortable with gender stereotypes that usually befit the woman being reversed. In other words, he does not mind his woman taking on masculine characteristics. In fact, he can be quite comfortable with that. For example, if she is the primary wage earner, he can be comfortable with that. This may be the same man who may say, and you may not find anything wrong with this, it's a preference, but I don't want my man saying, I don't mind staying home, you can go to work. No, I don't need you to tell me that you don't mind me going to work while you stay home and take care of the children. No, thank you. That's not the kind of man I want. Even if that is possible, I love to know that you love the children, but your job is to go out and win the daily bread, darling. And if you can say that to me, then what that translates to is you're really not on top of your game, and I'm going to have to be the one driving you. And 9 times out of 10, I may be more driven than you. So that's problematic. But again, on the other extreme, it could be you stay home. I don't want you to work at all. Well, I have dreams. I like to contribute, although my family and my children are my first priority. And that was one of the reasons why I ran my own school, my private school, for over 12, 13, 14 years, was because that was my priority. But I still needed to give. I wanted to be have a certain amount of flexibility in my life. So for me, like I said, the middle course is what works. That's why you have to know what works for you. So number 1, talks too much and is always seeking validation. An effeminate man believe it or not. And your man or the people that you're looking at may not meet every criteria. The issue is you don't want, out of say the 10 or 12 that I give you, for him to be meeting 6 or more. You don't even want him to be meeting more than 4. Then this is something you need to focus in on. You need to pay attention to. And you need to see who it is you're dealing with, okay? But talks too much and is always seeking validation. This is someone who, they chat a lot. They talk a lot. They talk more than your typical woman may talk. And we're talking about stereotypes here. But women tend to be more chatty. I mean, go to any middle school and you're going to find, or any elementary school, go to any pre-K class, and you're going to find the little boys. Because this is how we're wired. Again, this is social conditioning, taking apart things and doing Legos. And you're going to find the little girls at the board teaching each other, talking, making up worksheets, or maybe they're combing each other's hair, or maybe they're talking, or maybe they're doing creative writing, verbal expression, communication. All of those things tend to be fortes more associated with the feminine, but it's deeper than that. What I'm talking about is someone that needs to be heard and seen all the time. Not only are they talking as a way to let you know what they know, which we're talking about underlying insecurities here, but they talk about everything that they're doing at length, step by step by step by step. Too much verbiage. A masculine man makes decisions. He takes action. He's not looking for your approval. He may be looking for your he may be looking for you to help him entertain something, or he may be looking for your feedback and input, but he's a decisive person, and he's not going to be telling you every single thing where he is at every single stage of the process. Now, for some things that may be problematic, but I'm talking about across the board, a man who's always talking and talking, meaning he's always up in here all the time. He's taking less action. He's doing less. That's a sign of an effeminate person. It's also a sign of someone who needs validation, which means they need approval, which means they need you to give them direction. And if you're feminine and you're also feminine by gender, after some time, that's going to get on your nerves, because you want someone who can take charge, okay? Because being able to take charge communicates taking charge in a lot of different areas. I'm one of those people that says how you do one thing is how you do everything. It's not absolute, but usually you can look at 1 or 2 things someone does and you get a very good sense of their character and how they move, all right? Number 2. Not concerned with your safety and security in the way that that person should be. They may not be as concerned about what you, let's take a man, for example, who doesn't mind his woman going out of the house with her whole chest hanging out, or skin tight clothes on. Maybe he can see her camel foot or something or other. This is me again. You can take issue with it what you want, if you want, but this is what I'm saying. Take that and extrapolate, apply that. We're talking about someone who's not concerned about the undue attention that you may draw to yourself, whether it means you're going out to the office at 10 o'clock at night, or you're doing something else outside after sunset, or in the same way, he's not going to be concerned about whether or not your spare tire in your car is operable. In fact, he may not even be able to change a spare. He may still be going to the Jiffy Lube to get an oil change, not because he doesn't feel like doing it, but because he doesn't know how to change oil. In fact, you may be more handy than him. It may be you that decides to get the security system installed in the house, because that's not his concern. Naturally, he's not in his protective energy. I believe that men are to be the maintainers and the protectors of women. That's a loose belief. And when I say maintainer, that's a huge area. It covers a lot. Try to get out of the traditional limitations that the language can have. But you certainly are not married to a man by gender. If you're a woman who's feminine by gender and feminine by energy, you're not married to him to take up space in your bedroom. You're married to him because you expect him to step up to the plate and be able to protect you in other things. So if he's not concerned with when you cross the street, he should be on a certain side of the street. If he's not concerned with when you cross the street and you guys are going through the crosswalk, that he's beside you and he needs to be 10 feet in front of you and you are behind him, whatever it may be, if he doesn't pull you close when somebody's walking down the street that looks a little bit threatening, any of these sorts of things are things you need to be concerned about. He most likely is an effeminate woman, a man. And you will find this out because it will reveal itself in other ways. Number 3, they like to compete with women. They're around women too much, talking about things that women folk talk about. They could be surrounded by a lot of women on the job. And it's not just because they could be handsome. This person may want to debate you all the time. They want to tit for tat. They want to kind of give you a rebut to every single thing that you may put on the table. They like to compete with you. In fact, you may not perceive this competition overtly initially, but it happens underneath the surface. He's supposed to know he's not in your lane. He's supposed to know that while you all may be equal, you are complementary, and you have a role and he has a role. He doesn't need to be in your lane to feel good, and you don't need to be in his lane. So he should be able to celebrate your accomplishments openly, not compete with you. And you will find that if you're with an effeminate man, when you need to share your happiness with him, or when he should be willing to come to you and validate what you're doing and acknowledge it and act as though he's actually aware of what you're doing and he's happy for you, he's not there. Or if he is, he's only giving you 10 or 15% because underneath he's feeling insecure. He's feeling threatened. Men don't compete with women. That would be like the lion, the king of the jungle, the lion of the jungle trying to compete with what is the lioness's job. He knows what his job is. She knows what her job is. Let's reflect on the signs in the universe around us. All right. Next, 1, 2, 3. Number 4. He allows his woman to take on the masculine chores without even thinking about it. He doesn't mind if she's taking the trash out, if she's coming in the house carrying 3 bags and the child on one hip and holding another child's hand and got the car seat strapped to her back. He's not concerned with that. If you've got to go upstairs and he may not be home, he's not concerned with putting the lights along the stairway. So we're not just talking about a lazy, trifling man. We're talking about a man who is effeminate, because he's not concerned with the ways that he needs to make your life easy, because he's not aware of the gift that you are. A real man knows that his divine feminine is a gift. He knows that if he is able to make her life more easy and take some of the strain off of her, happy house, happy life, happy wife, right? He won't have to change the door. It's an old Somali proverb. When people come to your home, if they tell you you need to change the door, it means you don't have a good wife. You need to get rid of your wife, okay? The wife's energy in the home, the art of being a woman, is so, so important that many women today don't even know how to do that. They don't know how to go out into the workplace, run their business, do what they need to do, and then come home and be in their feminine energy and enjoy the beauty of the household and everything that makes it up, the looking beautiful, the smelling beautiful, to setting up the climate within the home, to making everyone feel comfortable, to making a home a home. These things are important. And in order for you to be able to do that, he's got to be able to do what he needs to do. And that's why I say God created woman as man's perfect complement. If he's not in his divine masculine energy, she can't be in her energy either, because he's the head. Not the head because he's smarter, better, or anything like that. He has a lot of responsibility. He has, we think that the man's responsibility is to be the provider. He has physical responsibilities, mental responsibilities to his family, emotional responsibilities to his family and his wife, spiritual responsibilities for leading the family and his wife. It is quite the bit of responsibility to carry the weight that God has put on the divine masculine shoulders. And trust me, he cannot and could not do it without the help and the support and the acquiescence of the divine feminine. It's too much for him. They don't even have the number of dendrites that we have, believe it or not. And that's a fact. You heard it here first. So these things are, they are very important. And we're at 24 minutes, y'all. I'm going to have to do more videos. I'm going to have to do probably a part 2 and a part 3. But he doesn't mind her taking on the masculine chores. It's okay to cut the grass every now and then. I used to cut the grass. I love gardening. All right, but if you're cutting the grass and he's working on his car and souping up his Supra and adding 280 more horsepower and doing all these other things, or maybe he's joyriding on his motorcycle while you're cutting the grass, that's a different story. That's not what we're talking about. If you know how to get up on a ladder and adjust the chandelier, or you can hang a swing on the porch, or you can put up the blinds and he can't do those things, and you can do it in 30 minutes and it takes him 5 hours, and y'all have to bring somebody in for $180 to do it, and he's not even trying to find out, and he won't even watch a YouTube video, that's something you need to be concerned about. Wouldn't he be concerned about you if you didn't know how to make a cup of tea? If you could make maybe some lasagna, if you do lasagna, or some sabayet, or something else in the kitchen, wouldn't he be concerned about you? So that's something you have to make space for, okay? We do, and we are influenced and confined in some way by some of this hypnosis of social conditioning. Thank you, Deepak Chopra. All right, so next, oh, I love this one, okay? Well, the next one after this one, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very agreeable in situations that allow the woman to take on responsibility where he has less. He's not going to bicker with you about that. He'll bicker with you about everything else, all right? He'll be all up in your female business, but when it comes down to the things that he should be able to take charge of, he doesn't mind deferring to you, which puts more responsibility on your plate. Baby, how are we going to pay these bills? If your man is saying, baby, how we going to pay these bills? Or baby, how we going to take care of this? And you're the one up at night stressing and he's sleeping sound like a log. Or you think you might have had a break-in 2 nights ago, and when you hear something the following night, he doesn't hear anything and you're the one that has to get up. Or the dog responds and he never wakes up. You have a problem. Next. Always in his feelings and very clingy. Ooh, y'all, this is a big one. Many women tend to want men who can share in the emotion of things. He can be compassionate. He can be empathetic. He can be considerate. You can have a man who can do that. You can have that King of Pentacles, which is my favorite king. Y'all know I always talk about that King of Pentacles. He's a provider, yet he's empathetic. He's a great counselor, but he's a leader. He works hard. He secures his family. I always talk about that King of Pentacles, right? I love the King of Pentacles. He is the best of all. In my mind, he can be, sometimes he can be better than an emperor in some instances, depending upon the nature of what the emperor is bringing to the table. But this particular person, always in their feelings. Every time they talk, that you turn around, they could be saying something, whereas you might be the one needing to say this. They could be saying something like, baby, can we talk? Or every time you turn around, they want to have a lengthy conversation about how they feel about something. See, the feminine energy feels. The masculine energy does. Feelings have to do with flow and harmony. The masculine energy is more about form, structure, decisiveness, action, movement. Ooh, and my power's going out. Hold on, y'all. Stay put. Oh, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I've got to put the charger in. Please be patient. Oh, my goodness. Give me a second. Listen to the birds. I lost my charger. Excuse me, beautiful butterflies. I'm getting ready to plug in. So that masculine energy, every time you turn around, he's got to talk about something. And it's not like how are we going to take care of these bills, or it's not something related to that. It's something to do with his feelings, which can lead you to believe or help you to understand that this person can be a bit too emotional. All right? Which means if they're emotional, it's going to feel like living with another woman. They're going to be always having something to say. They may be nagging, believe it or not. They may be overly, it's okay for a man to cry every now and then, but do you want your man crying more than you are? If he's that sensitive, you need to be careful, because that's going to lend itself into other areas, y'all. And when it comes down to protection and security and maintenance, those are 2 to 3 things at the very least that women at the most baseline level, probably 70–80% of women, are looking for in a relationship with a man. It just is. All right. So that's something you want to pay attention to. Really, really. I could go on and on about that. But here's the next one. This person will also be a yes man. They will be someone that has difficulty setting boundaries with other people. They sometimes maybe even their mother. Although there's nothing necessarily bad about that, I do believe we should be the comfort of our parents' eyes, but within reason. You do want to make sure that your man can set boundaries and is not such a people pleaser, and that the reason why he's allowing that energy to go out is because of something that's unresolved from when he was a child. That's where you have to be careful. Parents come first in my world. Especially, I mean, I believe parents may not have been perfect, but they did the best they could do with what they had. So we owe them our respect, and we should be the comfort of their eyes. But there's nothing wrong with having a conversation with a parent that may cross over the line a little bit. And I'm not isolating this to parents. I'm talking about being a people pleaser, not being able to, you know, say no to other people, and things encroaching upon your family life because someone is not able to do that. All right, that's something you really want to be mindful of. Someone who doesn't know how to put their foot down is also not going to know how to set limits with you as the feminine either, which could create an issue where you are crossing certain boundaries. Because God, look, I'm going to be point blank with you. People are ungrateful. People push the limits. People they forget to thank God. Of course, they're going to forget to thank each other. People can be thankless. People can push the limits. People can take things for granted. There's got to be a certain amount of tension in a situation. Not tension as in fighting, but a little bit of push-pull energetically in a situation in order for there to be actually balance. There's got to be that polarity there, so always remember that. Like I said before, may cry at inappropriate times or too often. Cut it. You got a man that every time you talk about talking about he's crying or he's sad about something and he can't seem to pull himself together. It's not yours to be the therapist. It simply is not. And when you're dealing with an effeminate man, you're going to either be the mother, the therapist, or the teacher, the psychiatrist. You're going to be everything. The EMS people, you're going to be doing it all. And that's not going to save you any time or allow you any time to do what it is he might say he married you for. All right? Okay. So the last one I want to talk about, pettiness and tit for tat. Pettiness. Very petty. A real man doesn't have time for that, because a real man is out working. A real man is out growing his nest egg. A real man is out getting his bag and establishing a legacy for his family. He doesn't have time to bicker with you, to bicker with a woman, and to go back and forth over things that are not important. He doesn't have time for that, because he's so busy out there, okay, that whatever it is you're bringing to him, he's going to listen to it, he's going to hear you, and he's going to be able to say, okay, baby, you know what? I like that. You know, I think that makes sense. He's not going to get caught up in the non-essentials. He's not going to be petty and have time to go back and forth. Now, it's a different thing if you're being disrespectful or there are other things that are going on. I'm talking about in typical situations where there's a healthy amount of balance, okay? Well, there's more balance than there is imbalance, if that's possible, in the sense that things tend to be fairly stable. All right, notwithstanding some situations that may draw both couples into something that may be a little bit out of the ordinary. But that is something that's very, very important, okay? Let me see how many I've done. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Oh, y'all, I got to do this last 10, and then I'm going to stop. All right. This is big. Lays around too much. It's too relaxed. Every time you turn around, that rascal is laying on the sofa watching the idiot box, or if he's not doing that, he's in the kitchen eating, or he's doing something else that any divine feminine who is worth her salt is looking at thinking, well, gosh, my plate is full and my cup runneth over. How does this person have time for that? That lack of urgency, that need to relax. See, relaxation and having a lack of urgency about something is being more balanced and in harmony, right? It's being more in a receptive mode, all right? They may get up when you ask them to do something, but they're in receptive mode. They receive your request and then they get up and execute it, and then they're back on the couch again. There's a lack of a sense of urgency. A masculine man has a sense of urgency about just everything. He's always looking for ways to provide, always looking for ways to secure, to bring more stability into the home, to make sure that his queen has everything that she needs to participate in the running and the executing of the kingdom. He's always present and moving around and looking at the things that he can do. Any man that needs to constantly be in a state of relaxation, if he's not, especially past a certain age, if he's in those child rearing years and he's in the years of building that foundation, we're talking, you know, especially 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and he's trying to sit down, especially 30s, 40s, and 50s, y'all, and 60s too, in today's world, you need to be concerned. Because anybody that needs to relax that much, relaxation, flow, harmony, receptivity, marinating, meditating, all of that stuff, those are feminine energies. All right, and if he's dealing with some of these other issues too, and he's having trouble managing that, you need to take heed. Those are 10. I'm going to stop at 10 because I don't want to go too far. There will be another video. Just look out for it. It may not have the word effeminate in it. It may say something like a distorted masculine energy. I do want to talk about that. I have some old videos on my channel about distorted feminine and distorted masculine energy. It will be helpful for you to familiarize yourself with all of that content because it helps us all to stay in balance and to understand what aspects within ourselves we may be harboring and in need of, you know, revamping or kind of turning around, doing a 360 with, whether it's you looking at your spouse or a potential mate or lover, or looking at yourself and determining what are some qualities and some things that I need to be watchful of. We'll be talking more about all of these things moving forward, but I've given you 10 reasons. Hopefully a lot of them make sense to you. Careful to look at some of the qualities of some of the men that you have in your life, or even the way you may be rearing your sons. These are not the qualities that you want to take on if you are looking for a masculine man. If you're looking for a man to secure you, to maintain you, to give you a sense of safety, to protect you, to provide stability, and he's doing these things, you need to really rethink the relationship, because these things don't often change, although they can. Knowing is half the battle. This person would have to be willing to roll their sleeves up, and you would have to be willing to do a certain amount of work in order to shift into your more feminine energy to help him to shift into his more masculine energy. Because no doubt if he's in his feminine, it's going to put you in a more masculine role, and you're not going to like that. Because if you are a female, your predominant energy, if you are female, okay, in most cases, your predominant energy is a feminine energy. All right, in most cases, there are exceptions to this, but I'm talking about in ideal situations. I'm not talking about situations where maybe someone has experienced some serious trauma in their life as a child. Let's say a woman experienced some significant sexual trauma and she became in her masculine energy. Okay, as a result, and so she doesn't identify with her primary feminine energy, although she would have more than likely were it not for some of those things. I'm not talking about that. I'm also not talking about people out there who make conscious choices to take on certain energies because that's where they feel naturally they belong. I'm not talking about that. So don't bring me no drama on this channel because you didn't listen and try to understand what I was trying to say, okay? Because that's going to be on you. I'm not going into no diatribe about that. But I love you anyway. So I'm Tanisha Ali. If you hadn't purchased my book again, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, please make sure you share, like, subscribe, or comment on this video. And if you have other things that you feel make a man more feminine than he should be, things that you've noticed in your relationships with a man who is an effeminate, please let me know. I love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. And I'll see y'all for part 2 of this video in the queue when I set it up. Bye-bye. And for those of you who really, really want to stick around for the Oracle card, I am going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to pull 2 cards, y'all. And they're going to come from this deck two from here and one from here, okay? This may be relationship, related to relationship, okay? So let's just see what the energies that be want you to consider. Oh, consider contemplation, flipped out. Interesting. Maybe some good news coming, something you're going to have to think about. We have divine protection too. I almost forget that. The sides, because I think this is one of the pictures, but it's not. This is the cover. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Okay, we're going to pull 2 cards. What do they need to know about this situation, whoever happens to be watching? Perfect match is reversed. Playing games. Contemplation. Good news coming. At the bottom of the deck, love yourself first. Perfect match is reversed. You might have felt like there's someone that was a perfect match. If you feel like they're playing games and every time you turn around, you're in your head trying to make sense of what it is that's going on, you might need to be careful about this, okay? You might need to love yourself first, which means put yourself first, which means you're not going to allow yourself to be manipulated. Now, you might have thought that this was going to be a situation where you met your perfect match. You could have really been thinking that. But you're now realizing, you know, every time I turn around, I'm spending too much time trying to walk through this labyrinth or this maze that this person has created for me. I don't believe that they are as sincere as I thought they were. It seems like they're playing games. Everything is just not easy. Again, y'all, this can sometimes feel like a narcissistic energy, and I will be the first to say that many narcissists are very feminine. When you meet a narcissistic man, a lot of times, underneath it all, he's very feminine. Okay? Playing all these mind games, doing all that gaslighting and all that old other crazy stuff. He's a little bit too soft. Yep. So this is something that's not moving forward because it's creating too much stress, keeping you up at night. It's putting you in a state of distress. You actually feel like the crows are pecking at your head. Something is stopping, or you're putting the brakes on something. You don't think it's moving forward. And the good news, because this is clarifying the good news, that is the good news. That you've been illuminated. You've awakened to the reality that whatever it is, it does not need to move forward. In fact, it's not moving forward. Love you. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Share it, like it, so that these videos can get out to more people. Love y'all. Oh, if you're interested in my anti-aging serum, guys, I'm 50. I have on absolutely no makeup except right here. My serum is bomb. You can find the information in the description. It will make your skin look beautiful. I did not always look like this. I promise you. I promise you.